So the only difference between a human and a carrot when it's talking about all the same material, it has counterparts, but if there is something unequal, like a different screensaver that could have been the actual program running, you knowing the difference is the difference in between a program running or someone just having a computer on autopilot. And how many materials can get ionized? The differentiation of not metal are constantly anything moving. The one in the very middle is an exchange of infinities. The relation between an overgrown beanstalk and an ogre being overgrown are iconically similar when it comes to the respect of, if you were to cut a beanstalk that big, you would find in it is something that can't stop growing, that can't keep growing. Put it into an oven and crack it out and make a cracker. Jack and the Beanstalk's beanstalk, as opposed to what a witch's broom would do. The very middle is an exchange of infinities. Because Klein bottles, because they are something that is a vessel and it orchestrates like a Das Boot where the air bubble is an interplay if it breaks or is utilized properly. These two things, how strong they're made, is dependent on the dials within them. I forgot to mention there's two of these, and the two together, the further you are from it, doubles as a base plate. Where if you go far away from it, it would look like a red of a single component. And this is the utilization of how an interplay has counterparts in a peripheral standpoint. When you look at something, you're decohering it to the likening of photons entering through your retinas and through your brain. Your brain flips it and scrambles it and makes an image that you perceive. Whether you own that or not isn't really the important part, is that your physical makeup of your interior is actually put in the work of just looking at something, decoheres it in order for it to manifest. The thing is man-made in that counterpart, but the interplay between that is two separate things. So just as in metal, if you're submerging enough things about it, it's going to get excited. And this is how a hairball theorem works, where you're gonna have all these hairs over a ball, but an infinite amount of hairs over a ball, and they're all combed over. One of them is always going to be sticking up, not combed over. Anything is not a metal, or if it is, it's excited at length. In between is the exchange of none other than an excitation of just metal or not metal. The purpose of chopping hair off, but just so it is fine on paper. Speaking of paper, the lay of the land is one and the same. It's a mixed bag when you're sporting material, but it's the arena that you, in doing one and the same, could allocate something even better than Collins Key, or more extravagant as a backyard scientist. Whenever you're walking on something, vlogging and cakewalks to me are just vlogs. A random number, and in random number generators, these are what are utilized, because fairy tale, I always am so focused on those, but that's only to get a perfect base. Perfect base in outside of the fairy tale world would be a conductive surface, and some surfaces are more conductive than others. And in two different groups, for most phenomenon that's extraordinary, you need to have metal, and then whatever isn't metal is simply conductive to it, would be plasma. And the differentiation between the two is nothing short of how important vapor is. So the only difference between a human and a carrot when it's talking about all the same material, if skin was muscles interior, is just that you have a whole bunch of fluid moving really quickly, and it doesn't, especially if it's not inside the ground rooted. This is what it would look like if the interiors showed over a certain amount of time its motion of the muscle tissues in it to its interaction with the skin on the exterior, it's stagnant unless you're talking about bodies that have fluids versus a carrot that when it's in the ground barely has any. So that's in the past as a plasma physics would have it, just a giant metallic region. They say the early universe was cooked inside of a plasma oven. That oven would ostensibly be a metallic alloy. Within the future, what holds is things disintegrating, and the only thing being about them is photons. So you're ostensibly at the infinite future, a whole bunch of photons in just like this giant photon sea. And that's why the things, the closer that you focus in them or pan out from them, they're going to be excitations of both the photon sea and then like this early plasma metal alloy. The difference in between is the exchange of none other than an excitation of just metal or not metal. So the following two images are one that could have been done with a cast if it was in a roller versus one that was straight that looked like the cast. And this is no different than just a color and a texture of a blind in front of it. Breaking grounds by breaking materials. Lo and behold, the scenes that I'm thinking of, they're lackluster with just verbally, but breaking ground when I'm at the pastures. I'm burning track while I'm crushing rubble. When you making double, you want to cost enough to see it, we can make it happen. You think it's funny, but I ain't laughing. It's lip service and you ain't past it. How'd about a buck until it happened. The constants of stuff moving is always a magnetic interaction, and is the difference of things that are stagnant. If everything's orbiting each other. This is what it would look like if the interiors showed over a certain amount of time its motion of the muscle tissues in it to its interaction with the skin on the exterior. It's stagnant unless you're talking about bodies that have fluids versus a carrot that when it's in the ground barely has any, that are moving as rapid as yours are.
You said ain't about a bitch. I'm like, who asking? You think you genie in the bottle, wizard Aladdin? I can't tell you why not or why this happened. I'm at the bottom, around the top, somewhere in the midsection.
Beyond what it should be. Let's get it straight though. Alright. There it is.